Hey there, welcome. Today I wanted to talk about comparisons. I think it's kind of like common wisdom to not compare ourselves so much to others. We do it anyways, so even that alone is something good to practice for people to not look at others so often and either see others as better or others as worse. I think the most damaging one is seeing others as better all the time. You can always look out there and find someone prettier, someone more wealthy, someone more successful, someone more popular, someone more skilled, someone more effective at a task. But it's also not good to look down upon others and constantly require another human that is worse than us at something for us to feel good about ourselves. This is also kind of toxic, but we just shouldn't compare in general for the most part. It's okay for very factual things, which light bulb uses a less electricity, which solar panel is longer lasting. For just factual things, this is just a normal facet of consciousness to understand truth and to make a better world. But we often compare things morally speaking. We compare value of things, often of people and people's habits, people's ways of being. And there can be like a factual outcome of these habits cause X amount of suffering and X amount of pleasure, even if it's hard to measure, while as these ones cause less suffering and more, goodness maybe. And so there's this fine line between observing reality and comparing reality. You don't need to compare technically to say, like, smoking cigarettes has a X percentage chance of causing cancer, and eating kale has an X percent chance of stopping heart disease. Like, you don't technically need to compare, to just observe facts of reality. And when we just observe, when we just sit as the witness to things, we will understand better what's supposed to happen and how we're supposed to move forward in life. We don't really need to make moral statements or judgments about things or value things in a certain way. But when we compare constantly, comparing ourselves to others, but also just comparing each other, comparing our past self and our future self, we have a bunch of issues. And just this, how we treat comparisons is also not good. Like I said, we can just observe facts. We don't need to compare morally necessarily. And we can just align with as many experiences of pure natural awareness as possible. And we don't need to feel about it necessarily. For instance, like, let's say we have a used car. It's probably more polluting than a new car. It's, less safe than a new car maybe, but it's the car we got. And it's just going to go to a landfill. And by buying a new car, we're just also supporting a bunch of revenue streams that could be causing a bunch of other pollution. So we try to last as long as we can with this old beater car. It's hard to compare in that sense. Like, what do we value? What do we measure? What do we take into account and what do we ignore? This is a good nuanced example of, well, who knows what's better to do for the world, for ourselves. You can value some aspects more than others, but can you really honestly say that we are objective in our evaluations and our comparisons between like the new car and the old car? When we sit and observe our own self in the act of comparison, in the act of evaluating what is worth evaluating or not worth evaluating, we can understand our own mind. And this is what we do all the time with people, with people's patterns and their habits, with ourself and other people, with our past self and our future self and our current self. A lot of the times we can't see the whole picture because we don't have all the information. We are also limited by our own bias and value system. And the value system is always comparative. Nothing's good without something to counter it, something to be not good, something to be like, oh, this is worse. I know that broccoli's good because when you don't eat broccoli, you seem to have less good things happen. A valuation system, like this comparative system of our consciousness, is innately comparative. And in non-duality, when we realize it's all just one thing, pretty much out of our control and fucking beautiful and amazing, we don't really need to delve so much into this evaluation system. We don't need to put as much stock into it. As a mechanism of consciousness, when appropriate, we can still use it. Like I said, this light bulb uses less electricity than this light bulb. Right now, that's the need. For some reason, we need to use less electricity. That's an example of evaluation and comparison that just kind of bridges more on observation to do what is needed in that contextual moment. But in terms of reactive swamping emotions towards being better or worse than somebody, or other people being better and worse than each other, this just creates separation. It creates illusion. It creates a habit that we keep perpetuating of looking at the world under a specific bias. The bias is our limited evaluation, comparing two attractive people, their attractive qualities, comparing our younger self to our older self, maybe feeling bad about our age because we look different now, we're less capable. We give up the very essence of infinite bliss when we give too much power to this illusory comparative system. And this evaluation mechanism of consciousness can help us survive and adapt and evolve in certain ways, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily truth at every corner and every use of it. And in yoga, in the pursuit of God, we really care about truth. The truth is we are here and we are conscious. The truth is this consciousness is completely unified with something infinite beyond words. And we don't need to only do these kind of evaluation mechanisms. We don't need to compare all the time. Oftentimes we have too much emotion attached to comparisons because the very intent of comparison comes from this train wreck of good and bad judgments. And by doing this, we move people out of our lives. We push people away. We keep people near us with ulterior motives, and we don't even realize it. We feel bad about ourselves for no good reason, creating suffering. And sometimes we feel good about ourselves, requiring other people to be worse and thus suffer. Almost around every corner, comparative systems, evaluation systems, our evaluative way of being is not helping us. And oftentimes we're so short-sighted, myself included, that we don't really see how our evaluations are limited and don't have all the information. We're convinced by them. And this basically dictates our actions. It dictates what we do and how we look at the world. It's pretty hard to cooperate and make harmony with large amounts of people when we're constantly comparing everything. If we're comparing them, we naturally give more attention to the ones we value more. And it pushes some people away, makes them feel bad. Likewise, we're going to push people away because they make us feel bad. Let's say we have the tendency to, look down upon ourselves because we just see how everyone else is better at everything. Well, we're going to make it difficult to interact with people because it's just going to feel like shit, because we will have the tendency to see something better in them than ourselves at all times. It works similar in the opposite way. If we always are looking at other people in like a negative way because we're better at this and like why are they not good at this, and then we give ourselves good feelings in that comparison, we're just going to push away people that could actually help us grow and be better. That's the funny thing. Whether we compare upwards or downwards, we push away the people that can help us grow because we're comparing, we're evaluating, we're tying our emotions to an illusory moral evaluation, or just, whether we call it moral or not, just a evaluation of essence, of beingness, of identity. And this isn't yoga. Yoga is unity. Yoga is dissolving lies and illusions and limitations to realize the boundlessness that's here right now. So we don't need to compare. There's no one to compare it to. There's not even a true self. Just because we think we are this body and all the things we've come to attach to it doesn't mean we actually are. It doesn't mean other people are that either. In fact, it's all just one unified essence, playing make-believe for a little bit. And that's just part of infinity's capacity. Since it's infinite, it's boundless. So I suggest don't compare. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't compare other people. And practice just not comparing. Like comparing a gray day versus a sunny day. Don't. Just love it as it is. Love this moment without reference to any other moment. Because that's where bliss is. That's where love is. Unconditional love. Unconditional is also uncomparative love. So please don't make comparisons. And then see what happens. See for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Om Sai Ram.